Michigan. This is Grand Tap Media Business TV. My name is Pamela Keim, your host. The spirit of the show is to introduce West Michigan to all the businesses, nonprofits, and leaders that can help us thrive. Boy, I am out of WKTV studio. This is my first podcast interview. I'm going to do a little things different than I did the last time we had the shutdown. So I'm so grateful to have two special guests that were willing to make time this morning to be on my show. I have Stephanie Scott Kolakowski from Grow Business Today, and she's going to introduce David, and I'm dying to hear more about him. And he's going to help me get through this shutdown and what he did to pivot his business and grow it. So I want to welcome both Stephanie Kolakowski and David, and I want you to take the opportunity to introduce David so we know who we're talking to, okay, Steph?
So David Boelkes, he's a pretty extraordinary entrepreneur. I'm proud to call him a friend and a client. David and I have known each other since he opened his first business, when he was 22 years old. He's now 26, and in that time frame, he now owns two barking boutique pet stores, and he is committed to bringing families.
I lost you. Can you hear me?
I lost her.
Nate. Cole, we lost her.
It might be her internet, honestly.
I hear you fine. You just lost her like
fine.
that. Okay. Okay, well, David, why don't you take the lead and introduce yourself? It's your internet, Steph. It's your internet. Okay.
I'm gonna call her.
Okay.
I can't hear you guys.
Your internet's out, I think. You totally froze.
I did?
Mm-hmm.
You guys froze too? Okay.
Because me and Pam can see each other and hear each other, but we can't see you.
Yeah, you totally froze.
Right back in.
Okay.
She said it's your internet. Yeah. Okay, David, let's talk about you.
All right.
So
You
pick up where. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Stephanie's been sharing with me, and I know that you're experiencing a lot of success with your businesses, and so share more, okay?
So, like she was saying, we met 4 years ago. My first business was in the Woodland Mall, and then we moved to the Grandville location where we've been now for 3.5 years. We started with just 6 little cribs and 12 puppies. 4 years ago, and we've matched over 2,000 families, and we've grown into 2 locations and a kind of a support business. We also started.
There we go.
She's back.
Called Pause and Unwind.
So please tell me, how really, because Stephanie's so dear to me, and we are working together. How did you run into her? Did you run into her? Did you guys know each other?
Oh,
How'd
funny
this go?
story. We met at Fox 17. She was the sales director for the station. And
right.
I was working with Stephanie Trevan, and she was pushing the morning show. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. I hate live TV shows and things like this. But, I'll do it. Let's do it. And so I took a puppy to the morning show and did an interview, and Stephanie now owns that puppy.
I know. I saw that on the internet.
Teddy.
Okay.
His name is Teddy.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that's 2 years ago, actually. And just recently, she got her second puppy from us, the golden retriever that she saw the post on Facebook.
So, have you always loved animals? Have you always loved?
Oh yeah, I've had dogs growing up. Yeah, I've had dogs growing up. I've had dogs in college, and I currently have my Bernedoodle. She's snapping behind me. And I really just liked being able to connect people with something that they're not able to find. So my issue is I wasn't able to find a dog I was looking for without having to jump through hurdles, what it felt like. So going to breeders and looking and asking questions and how much exercise do they get? What kind of certifications do the parents have? What kind of guarantees of health do I have on this animal? And a lot of the breeders didn't even know, like, the genetics. They didn't know what parents had. And so I'm asking myself, like, how do people who aren't educated know what to look for when they go to buy their puppy?
Right.
And I started digging into the research and found that a lot of these underground, not great places are where they're perpetrating, the dogs in a nasty way, not perpetrating, but just not good standards. And so we want to be the responsible source. And so we go and vet all of our breeders, ask the questions, make sure the dogs are socialized, make sure the dogs are healthy. And then we warranty and guarantee them the health of the dogs for 5 years.
Wow, really?
Half of its life.
Well, you know, I used to work in the aging network for like 17 years, and I know how important animals were to the aging, because they were isolated. That was their only friend. And David, my new husband, for about 5 years, I mean, his dog got him through his divorce. I will tell you, he loved that dog. But now that we're going into our second shutdown, let's talk about how you're able to maybe help people. Maybe they don't realize a dog would help them get through this. Give them some companionship.
We've been seeing a ton of families coming, and especially with the new orders of students staying at home. They're kind of getting bored with homework, or they're getting distracted easy. And the dogs are really like kind of redirecting them. Like they can have a little break. It's their kind of therapy. They can kind of get it out. And also it's on our responsibility for them. So they don't have as much kind of, I guess, schedule-wise stuff going on now that they're on their own schedule. They can do it kind of when they want at home. So the dog kind of keeps them on a schedule, wakes them up, makes them feed them.
I know.
They have to take them out. So it really does, it's getting a lot of people through it. So
you know what? They can get you out of a lot of things too. Gotta go, gotta take care of my dog. I gotta go take him out. I don't have a dog anymore, but that one was a good one. Like, we left poor little Wyatt by himself 6 hours. We gotta go. It didn't get you out of the
Exactly.
But do you see people? Okay, so who's coming? Where's your boutique, and how you do some training too? So let's talk about some of the services that you're offering, because Stephanie brought you to the castle to help people there, because there's a lot of dogs at the castle. I will tell you.
Yeah, a ton there. So after I owned the boutique for 3 years, we opened a pet resort that has training, boarding, grooming, and daycare, and a puppy school. So now that we have, these 2,000 puppies in the area, how can we support them and make sure that they're living the best life they can, and also other animals at the castle who even aren't from us. And so we have a training program. So you can bring your dog 3 days a week, and it's like a puppy preschool. So we work with them every day on things like no bark, no jump, which especially is big right now if you're working at home.
Right.
And you have the conference calls and your dog's barking the whole time, and your boss is like, Karen,
You're at a Zoom meeting. Shh, shh, shh.
Yeah. You're like, have to put yourself because you're yelling at your dog.
Well, don't people, excuse me, David, don't people like it that you train your dog well, that he listens? Nothing's worse than going to people's homes and their dogs are out of control and you're like freaked out. You know what I'm saying?
And you're embarrassed. You almost don't want to have people over because you're afraid your dog's going to jump on them, or those things. And so those things are really easy to break. You just have to know how to and work on it. It takes about 2 weeks, honestly, and you can break a lot of these really bad habits.
Really? Just 2 weeks can break a bad habit?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Most people I know their dogs are pretty good, but some people they're like, pet my dog, and they're like barking. I don't want to go up to a dog that's barking, right? I don't know what to do. What do I do? Do I put my hand like this or like this?
We call it puppy etiquette, and we train that. But actually, when a dog is acting like that to you, you just ignore it. So when you ignore it,
okay.
You just ignore it. You just act like he's not even there, and eventually it'll just stop, and then you can give it attention. So you don't give it attention when it wants attention. You give it when you want to give it attention.
Do they really sense fear? Like you got to be really brave? Because I got bit by a dog when I was younger because they didn't control their dog. So I'm a little leery. So I do get a little worried when people they don't have their dog. If they say a command and they don't listen, then I feel like they don't have control of their dog. Is that about what you want to, like if you were walking, you're like, come here, Wyatt, here. And if he doesn't listen and he still goes off, I'm thinking, okay, well, they don't have control of their dog, right? Or
totally, yeah.
Okay.
And that's why, you don't want to have your dogs on a leash and stuff like that out in public unless it's in your house. Because the worst thing is when, if we were out at a park and she saw a little kid across the street, she loves kids, and she would, no matter what we would do, she would turn across that street to go and lick that kid and play with them.
Right.
In a car or something. So we just can't risk it without kind of being on a leash. And just make sure whenever you go up to an animal, you just kind of ask the owner, or if it's acting crazy, just ignore it and act like it's not there. Okay,
so if I'm at the castle and I walk around the castle and people have dogs, should I be really, do I put my hand like, I want to be friendly, right? Mm-hmm. I want them to, so do I put it above, or they always say underneath? What is the protocol on the best way to approach a dog?
So like, say this is like its muzzle. This is your hand.
Okay.
You'd like go up to it, let it sniff it, and then just a little.
So let them sniff your hand first and then go like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
they'll do a little sniff, see who you are. And then they're like, oh, hey, Pam, what's up? And then they'll know you in the
Do
future.
they really remember my smell?
Oh, yeah.
Do they? Okay.
For sure, yeah.
Okay, so, all right, so Steph, what do
Yeah.
you, I mean, talk a little bit, let's talk about you, David, on that one. You guys met. How's it going with the castle? You got that big, you guys have been doing stuff there? So what's going on? You know,
we're really excited about our partnership with the castle. Again, what I love about David is an innovative person. He's a collaborative person, and David believes in win-win-wins. And we want to make sure that the dog community has access to resources and, like he was talking, training and grooming. We understand this shutdown has impacted a lot of people from a mental health standpoint, which we talked earlier of how dogs really help, especially PTSD or depression, to have a pet that you can rely on there that loves you. I mean, dogs are the only species I know that love their human more than they love themselves. Right? Like, it's
every
true.
time you come home, right?
Yeah, I mean, and so for the castle, having 125 plus dog owners there, and it's a community. It's such a great community there. We thought, what could we do to bring, love and space there? So the grooming on site every other Wednesday with Gil and his team at Pause and Unwind has been great. We want everybody to know that they have access to that and make it as easy as possible.
Okay.
And then the agility course out back. I mean, the castle is one of the communities here that really thought through of how can we make sure that we have things right here on the grounds for those pet lovers and pet owners to interact with each other and build community. So we're really excited to continue to explore and create ways to do that at the castle. And then also looking to connect our communities. I mean, David, we service 45 to 60 new families with dog owners each and every week at the Barking Boutique. And so we want these communities and these people to have opportunities connect and do good here in West Michigan. So we're starting a brand new opportunity. We were going to have our first 11/19, but given the shutdown, we'll have to postpone to next year.
Okay.
Once a month, we're going to provide food trucks and experiences and grooming and at the parks and have people connect. And just like we want to support local businesses. So we're looking at local other dog businesses to support biscuits and
Well,
fun.
there is some issue, I think, too, when people go from a home and move into the castle, because we've had an elderly community move in. So they're bringing their dogs that are used to more space and not being running into people in the hallways and stuff like that. So I think it's really important that David's there to train these people how to act being around so many people now when they used to just be at home, right?
Right, exactly. Exactly, it's so true. And also convenience-wise, we understand transportation sometimes for especially the elderly can be a challenge. So we're looking at ways David's looking at ways as a company to say, how can we help? How can we help transport pets to grooming appointments, or how can we help transport in the future to training classes, and what that looks like. So again, he's always innovative.
Well, the castle's been very receptive of you guys because they already have a dog area.
It's perfect.
And you make an appointment. I said, when we were talking, I'm like, all you have to do is make an appointment for that day when David comes with his team, and he sets up 6 or 8 grooming. And they're spaced apart. They're not like in line. They have an appointment at 11 o'clock. They have an appointment. I don't know how long it takes. David will have to go into all of that. But that's what the castle can do. They already have a whole dog area that they are washing, right?
Absolutely. They have a great washing facility downstairs that's just set up perfectly for our on-site groomer, Mel, to come out and actually be there with the dogs. She's actually picks up the dogs, brings them down. So, the owners that are still going to and from, she service. And what's great about working with the castle is they're just so good about finding ways to convenience and really benefit their community and their residents, which has been great. Working with Aaron and the team there has been just wonderful.
Well, and Ben's a big deal. I just put him out there.
Big deal, Ben. Ben doesn't like it when you mention Ben's name. Ben doesn't like to be on camera.
I'm like, he helped build that thing, but he is the big deal. But anywho, they're very good. I have my show out of there. You know how much I love the castle. Second largest castle on earth. So the more we can bring in the community to give services to this community within a community. It's basically, there's like 1,000 people living there. and
Yeah.
dogs, and they're getting filled up. I think they're at over 95% now. So these people need services, and who better just to go down the elevator to the first floor, and they go right to, to get their dog done, especially when winter comes, right?
I mean, especially a lot of dogs get car sick, and people just don't like, or they don't like hair in their car. So, especially, you know, leather, cloth, it gets stuck in there, and it's a chore after you get your dog washed to go now to clean the car out. So to be able to just literally have a groomer come into your apartment while you're at work, even, or if you're not home, put your dog back in its place, and it just goes up and down the elevator like it's used to.
Okay, so what days are you guys there anyways? I mean, Steph tells me this stuff, but I have a lot of information I got to keep. So what days are you there?
We are set up to be there on Wednesdays. And again, it's a supply and demand thing. So if there is no appointment set up one day, then we won't be out there. But so far, we've had 6 to 8 appointments on our first day there. So we'll be back next Wednesday.
Okay.
We'll follow up with Erin and see how many residents are there. Our goal is to just kind of lock in the service every 6 to 8 weeks so people don't have to worry about it anymore. Am I going to get my dog room? But, things come up. So we just want to simplify that process and make sure that we're there and we're setting things up that's the most convenient way for the residents.
And you guys are planning a training thing soon. Is that going to be outdoors in the spring? Is it, or did you guys already schedule something? I'm not sure. You talked about that.
Yeah, so we're planning on doing a dog park community thing right now with a nonprofit local charity and like one of the radio stations. So it'll be once a month from probably like May until October of next year, and we'll pick different dog parks.
Yeah, we have a dog park in the back. If people don't realize that at the castle, tell them, Erin, and I mean Stephanie, and you guys, we have a dog park, so we already have everything set up for you guys to come in, right?
Yeah, it's literally gonna be perfect. And we are working with local food trucks, so we're gonna pay for all the food for the dogs that come. We're gonna have our dog trainer there, our daycare members. So if you've never brought your dog to a daycare or a camp before, or a dog park even, we can have people there who will help you introduce your dog to the pack and make sure there's no incidences and things like that. So it's kind of gonna be worry-free and stress-free for new parents who never been to a dog park but kind of want to start going and get out there this summer.
Okay, so let's talk about you being an entrepreneur and having to go through the first COVID. That phone is not for me. But anyways, tell us, David, how did you pivot? I mean, because a lot of people didn't do as well. And can you share with us?
So it was obviously really, really stressful. I actually had just purchased Pause and Unwind on March 13th. And that was, I think, the day before the first shutdown happened. So that was grooming, and that was, everything. No one's going on vacations anymore. And I just had obtained a whole new business with staff and, things going on. And so the way we really pivoted was we closed the Bargain Boutique down for 3 weeks. And then when they opened retail back up, we decided to do it by appointment only. And really, we just had like an amazing response. So we set up crates outside. So we had outdoor play rooms. And so we kept it pretty much all outdoors and had minimal staff, enough to keep the dogs, cared for, and enough staff to work with the customers. But we really set it by appointment only, and people are really looking for animals right now. There's a lot of scams out there happening because there isn't a supply of puppies right now. If you were to look around for breeders right now or call around, you're really not going to find something until like the middle of next year probably. For a waiting list. So people are getting desperate, and so if they see, oh my gosh, look at this cute little puppy, and I send them $250 deposit, I'll get it next week or whatever they tell them, then all of a sudden it's in the middle of nowhere, this address, and they wired them or Venmo'd them.
Is that what's happening? Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, we have customers at least twice a month, 3 times a month come in with stories like that. The Better Business Bureau just did a report on it as well, on how many scams are happening with that.
Are people abandoning their dogs because they're expensive if they're not making any money? I mean, they're not dropping them off to you, are you? That most people keep their dogs during bad situations?
Oh yeah. Okay. We would have, we wouldn't, obviously, we would have a lot of issues if we were not be able to have that. That's another reason why we opened the kennel. If people are having training issues or things like that, we provide some free training with our Barking Boutique puppies.
Right.
So if you take a puppy home and say in 5 months it's just driving you crazy and you can't figure out what's going on with your relationship,
right,
we send out a free trainer to come to your house and work with you and the dog for 3 sessions.
Does dogs really sense when you're stressed? Do they really?
Oh, yeah.
You know, what if you're home with your kids and you're stressed and you're trying to do your business from home, or you're working from home, and then adding on, you know, your husband's home doing his stuff, and then you have your dog. I mean, does your dog really feel that tension, or does he act up more because of it?
I mean, it depends on every dog, but most dogs, depending on your relationship, like if you and the dog are besties in the household and you're stressed out and kind of just like over it, the dog's probably going to be like in your lap and just kind of hanging out near you. Like, you can definitely sense that. But if he's not really close with your husband and he is always stressed out or always kind of in a mood, he's not going to be like that towards your husband, because he's always like that. So they can definitely sense when you're not right and need some loving.
Okay. Because I always worry about that, that dogs are, because now they're kind of thrust into COVID too. They're used to having, Wyatt used to have the house all to himself and we're gone all day, and now we're home.
You annoy him all day.
When I was home, my husband told me not to put him out as much as I used to, because I used to want to get some fresh air. But then it ruined his schedule, because he used to be able to wait 6 hours before you came there. So I would get home and I would quickly take him out. And he goes, don't do that, because when he's alone, he's not going to get used to that, right? I mean, that kind of disrupts their schedule.
That's another thing. Yeah, the dogs are getting spoiled right now. So when it goes back to normal, the dogs are going to be a little anxious. And so we're going to be discounting some rates for back to work specials at the daycare. So we'll have some special rates for people that are getting back to work and their dogs are kind of going stir crazy. They can drop them off just like you would kind of at a daycare. Your kid comes home tired from playing all day. Your dog comes home, he's just like, oh, feed me and let me go to bed. And you can literally relax when you get home and not have to wear out your dog after a long day of work.
Well, I don't have a dog, but I am looking forward. When I saw Stephanie's, I was showing my husband, David, I'm like, look at how cute this dog is, right? Okay, so what would you do different, David? What would you do different now that you've gone through the shutdown, and now we're going into a possibility, not as severe, but we don't know, in 3 weeks?
Yeah.
What are you going to prepare for differently this time around?
We're definitely going to start going by appointment only here pretty soon, and we've limited the capacity in the store. So if we don't have an appointment and we're empty, we'll let people do some walk-ins. But really just kind of making sure we're wiping everything down, doing our part for COVID, wearing our masks and the face shields, having space between the cribs, and kind of just making sure that we're following all the rules. So that
aren't we all?
Yeah.
I know there's a lot, and they're always changing. So it's hard to keep up, but really it's just being able to have puppies in the store and still be able to match those families that, might have a kid who's allergic to dogs, but we have dogs that would be able to go home with them because they don't react to the hair instead of fur. So just kind of like,
well, we have these all over the place now. Our dogs grabbing these, I mean, it's scary when you see these everywhere. And my husband said the same thing. He goes, we're worried about the passing disease, but these are all over the place. So our dog, are you training these dogs not to grab those things?
We haven't had any issues. I have to ask my veterinarian, actually. I'd be interested to see how many masks are swallowed or found in.
I know.
Can I interject with one thing too that I'm like David super inspires me on how he leads his teams and people first and community first. Is when people ask about how people are preparing for COVID, we talk about safety and people first, of course. But one thing David did really smart is in September of this past year, he supported our business as we were launching and took us on as a marketing and growth agency for his business. And he leaned in to investing in marketing and investing in community, investing in branding. And as a result, even during COVID, he's had his most successful year in business ever. So when we talk about how are we going to pivot in COVID, I want to make sure as a business community that we understand it. Fear does not drive results. It doesn't mean changing your plan or how you're marketing your business. It means marketing it differently to, abide by the rules.
Right.
But you still need to have a plan in place. You still need to be investing. There is always somebody in market for your services always.
And, like, and we're doing puppy deliveries too. So if you don't feel comfortable, like, coming out right now, we can bring the puppy straight to your home.
Good.
Kind of make that happen. So we've done that a few times now with some families that just aren't comfortable, but again, they're at home and have nothing to do and want that companion. And
well, are you as nervous as this time around? We were all kind of taken. We were blindsided with the last shutdown. I mean, do you feel like you're in a better position now to be able to deal with some of what's happening and your clients and that your customers are there? I mean, what's your thought there?
Yeah, I think we're definitely in a better place now because we've been living in it now for 6 months. We can kind of, I don't say we know what's coming. Obviously, no one knows what's coming, but we can kind of predict a little bit better what the future holds. And I mean, if we go on another, lockdown, we can still do appointment only, or delivery only. So it's not really, we've kind of figured out a way to make it around, and have a safe backup plan, but we do have that backup plan. So in case it gets that bad, it's going to be, unfortunately, we have our staff still that can still help deliver puppies, but
do you guys do anything?
It's going to be tough, but...
and we're going in. We lost Steph. She probably lost internet, but because I want to get out as many interviews as I can because I was blindsided too, and I only had 2 on the shelf before everything shut down and I couldn't do any more. But now that you're my first one, I'm getting kind of used to this. But is there anything you want to share with people out there about your services and what you do?
Yeah, so the Barking Boutique, I think is a little misrepresented by a small group of the community where our puppies come from, and that's a big misinformation and kind of like an old time, an old. I guess our industry is kind of like a nursing home. Like there's great nursing homes and there's not so great nursing homes. Right. It kind of depends on the staff and how that is managed. And so the same thing happens with pet stores and breeders is if you're managing your staff and you have a great staff and you're doing it right, it could be great. And if you're not doing it right, it could be awful. And so there are some not good players out there. And so they make kind of the umbrella fall under us. And so what we do is we really go and check out all these breeders ourselves. See the moms, see the dads, we get to play with them, we look for their socialization cues. So when we walk up to them, are they coming up to us and wanting to be petted, or are they running to the back of the crate afraid, like they've never seen people before?
Okay.
And so
I mean, I just think everybody's going to be a little bit more prepared, but I learned one thing being around people that are stronger than you to run your business. You know what I'm saying? People that are a little bit more courageous. And that's why I'm glad I'm with Stephanie right now. She's a little bit more courageous. All right, Steph, are you frozen?
Yeah.
All right, David, let's finish up with you then. All right, so how can we reach you? If I'm a dog lover.
In Grandville, right near the castle, next to Bluefish Aquarium at 2939 Wilson Avenue by the railroad tracks, or in Kentwood on 28th Street next to Copperhawk Winery, in the little strip center with Fujiyama Asian Buffet and Title Boxing.
Okay.
Provider, make sure we're coming through.
But no, I am going on the golf course. We're going to get 2 more days of golf in before they close up. And I wouldn't be able to do that unless I had you doing a lot of the stuff for me and this Mission Barbecue. So how can we reach you? And if they're a business owner out there, tell them what you can do for them, because you've really changed my life. And I'm sure you've changed David's life. Being part of him.
You guys have both changed mine too. So I love David. So I can help you put together your marketing and growth plan and strategy, the media planning and buying, and those hours, give those back to your team and your corporate staff to put back into the business. And I can help develop business to business relationships and long-term strategies. I come from a sales and marketing background. And I love to do it. I love to help businesses grow. Your growth is our business. So if you're not growing, you don't have a business.
That's exactly it. First podcast interview. So I want to thank David and Stephanie, and we will catch you next time. Take care, everyone. Say goodbye, everyone. Take care.